resolution for virtual meetings.
Says, I mean, as long as the majority of the people are here.
Yep.
2, requirements for a video conferencing is utilized to conduct public meetings for town board. Quorum must be physically present. So just a majority.
I don't think it pertains to what we want to do. To you, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at this thing myself.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, welcome to the town board meeting for May 18, 2022. Could everybody please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we'll call the town board meeting to order. Motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sean,
I'll second.
second by Gene. Discussion?
I've only looked at about half of them, so I really can't comment.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Motion to approve town board minutes. We don't have any town board minutes in front of us to approve, so we'll go beyond that to the privilege of the floor. Does anybody have anything to talk about from the floor? Stacy?
Some point last year, the board brought up the issue of possibly creating ordinances to govern Airbnbs and VRBOs. And now that we're getting into that season again, has there been any progress on anything?
So that was sent to the zoning board and the planning board. And they, I believe, have had one meeting to discuss that and they also got copies of the ordinances from Lake Placid and another place. And other than that, there's been nothing done.
Because we happen to live next door to a VRBO, so I'm not sure then what the next steps would be. Is that, should we be presenting to the zoning board and instead of the town board?
Yeah, I had asked Doris and Ron about this a week or so ago, and they told me that they hadn't gotten any further on it, rather than the initial papers and the initial things that we discussed a while ago.
Because, yeah, you're right. I mean, I pulled up Lake Placid's information, which I have here. They have a short-term rental law with a permit application, the noise ordinance, occupancy tax registration form, so you don't even get your permit if you don't complete the occupancy tax form. But it really is problematic. You know, we're disturbed at all hours of the night. There's fire pits outside. Their renters are noisy and, you know, drinking and walking around all over. You know, in the morning the fire pit can still be going.
Doris, I asked you, what do you foresee as your process to be able to start working on this? And
well, the reason there hasn't been much work on it for Ron and I is because we've been so busy, which you know we have been with site plans and subdivisions. It's not real. And I've never seen it this big, personally. And we just haven't had the time to research it. We're both in favor of doing it. I mean, but we gotta sit down and, you know, get some guys and get them sat down and.
Because we have one for Lake Placid like she has, and we also have one for a town in Colorado, I want to say Crested Butte, that somebody else sent us, and I passed that on to your chairman of your two boards quite a while ago, and just with a note that, you know, we needed to start working on this. So.
Well, if extra hands are needed if there's going to be, let's say, a committee or something formed, or if you need additional people, I'd be willing to volunteer to help to get this going.
Okay.
Who's been charged with it? Is one of the boards been, who's supposed to come up with it? who's supposed to take that and make our own out of that? Is it,
I would say zoning and or planning, which would be planning.
okay, do they know that yet? Cause I know.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that's what I just said to Norris, is I sent the samples of these things to those chairmen of zoning and planning and said, and that's how come she's asking about it, cause we discussed it at a
Right.
meeting a year ago,
Right.
right?
The Phil Reed
Well,
was
just
here.
Norris said he and Ron are busy, but the fact they're busy shouldn't hold this up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
But,
Right.
hey, Norris, for the, solar farm thing, it sounds similar to what this is, correct? I thought that was just a zoning board, I remember I sat in
That
on a few of
was,
them.
yeah, that was strictly solar,
Right.
and,
Well,
what-
So, I mean, that's a process we did for something similar to this, it
it
sounds
has
like.
to, when we get all done with it, has to come to the town board anyways.
I was just gonna say that, because with Lake Placid, what they call it is a short-term rental law. So I would think that would come back to the town
Yeah,
board
for sure.
at some
Yeah,
point.
it has to.
So Ron, to your point, that's much appreciated, that, we need to figure out how to get this going, because I'm sure we're not the only ones that, we're trying to live in our, primary home, and we're surrounded by, short-term rentals.
Mhm.
So what is the board's feeling? Do we wanna appoint a committee? Do we wanna appoint a person in charge, or how do we wanna start this process?
If it's a zoning thing, I'd like to see the zoning board take the lead on it, but encourage to get input from people. I mean, there's nothing better than hearing from people that are speaking from firsthand.
Yep.
Because there's gotta be, they're not going away, and they need to be made neighborhood friendly.
Your zoning chairman is that Rich or is that Kevin?
That's Kevin,
Kevin.
and
Yeah.
Rich is planning board.
Well, if you're saying zoning, I guess that means that we talked to Kevin about this, and we asked Kevin and the zoning officers to put together a committee and start workshops. I think everybody's seen on the news what's going on in Sackett's Harbor, where they've been working on this for 2 years. And they've been some very intense meetings in Sackett's Harbor, and this will be a long process.
Yeah.
It's
Not
probably,
gonna happen overnight.
does anybody else got any other ideas about how to get this started?
I would, if there's some way you could direct the chairman of the zoning board
Yeah.
to get it started. Because it is gonna take a while, it sounds like it hasn't started yet.
No. They've been they just got paperwork on what other,
Right,
know.
which is a good start.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Norris, you okay with that, if we direct your zoning board and your your chairman?
I'll have
To start this
Kevin come in
process?
sometime and meet with you.
I mean, I know that this board, the zoning board, is extremely busy. I see how many things are on their docket every 2 weeks here, and they're having special meetings, but this is something that we'll ask them to do. Maybe we need to appoint another committee, or appoint other people to the committee to do this.
I think there's enough motivated people that you could get a committee.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I'm on the zoning board and I'm busy, I would have no problem with a committee doing all the legwork and coming up with something.
Yeah.
Because you're still gonna be able to modify it to the way you feel is appropriate.
Yep.
But you gotta get something that you can modify, and we don't have that yet. And motivated people are gonna get it done faster.
So,
I agree with Ron, if we can get a committee, like Ron and I would like to know what's going on, but not really be on the committee.
Right.
We got enough to take care of.
sure do. So how about if I put an ad in the paper that gets approved by the board before it goes in, that asks for people to contact whoever, whether it be myself or you, Norris, or a chairman, that would be interested in being on this committee.
Yeah. And there
Put
should
an
be,
ad in the paper and put it on the town website.
there should be some owners involved too. We need
Yes.
both sides of the equation involved.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there would definitely be owners involved, because the people like Stacy that have talked to me about this are owners.
Well, I mean, when I say owners, of the Airbnbs.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got both sides of the equation
Yeah.
and.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so, I'll put something in the paper, and we'll ask for people to, get a hold of us if they're interested in being on the committee. Advertise for,
Stacy already expressed interest.
yep.
Yep.
Okay, anything else, anybody else? Yep.
Yeah, just a question about, I know you're in the very, very early stages about talking about Otter Street sewage, okay? About Otter Street sewage.
Yep.
And the question, and maybe Rob can give me some information on this. If Otter Street becomes the sewage becomes a reality, where would that sewage be treated, you believe?
That's a great question. So there's two choices, obviously.
Right.
You know, to go to the village or go to the,
Right.
Existing sewer plant at Price Chopper.
Right.
So I'm not sure, we're just getting into the district boundary right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna depend on, number one, can the village take it? I don't know if they can or can't, if they can handle the extra inflow, and it's gonna come down to the economics. What's the least expensive alternative?
Because I have an understanding that they need a lot of upgrades down here to accept a lot more treated, sewage.
No, you're absolutely correct.
And I
And
just
so,
wondered how that would, play out.
you know, the town has an existing agreement with Orleans
Yeah.
and Clayton, to go that way, so that would be relatively easy, established. And,
That's our thoughts.
What's that?
Our thoughts is go out to Price Chopper.
Yeah, I think that's the preference right now, but we can't leave the village option out of the loop entirely, but there's the matter of economics, which is cheaper, and also, if you're tying the district to the village, then you'll obviously have to deal with the same things you're dealing with the water, then you're kind of at their mercy, rate setting, where on the other way, you have the village, or the town has a little more control, if you will.
Plus you'll address the Route 12 too, sewage to go somewhere, right?
What's that? No.
Plus the rest of Route 12 sewage too. I mean, it's not all, that's not all open yet, is it?
No, what the Route 12 sewer, and, is ready to go to bid. That's gonna happen, at some point in the next year, and that's all gonna go to the plant and Price
To that
Chopper.
one?
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've had some discussion with some village people about which plant, okay, or I should say about the village sewer plant, and I know a past board member had discussion with them, and the impression that we got was that the village has got some huge upgrades that need to be done to their sewer plant. I think everybody saw a while ago that they bonded, for that, and.
Yeah, they're trying to get like a $13 million deal, for a lot of upgrades they need there, and the water tower.
Yeah.
The old water tower, which has been out of operation for 7 years, which I really didn't know that it wasn't operating that long,
So what I'm saying is that I agree with Rob, and this has been looked at a little bit, not a lot, but I think we're tentatively planning on sending the sewer in the new Route 12 sewer system to Price Chopper.
Okay, I just wondered what their thoughts were on that. Thank you.
Anybody else have any public concerns?
I just had a question, the sewer plant up there by Price Chopper, it's modular? How much room is there for that to grow, if it's necessary?
I mean, it's really a function of, so the last expansion, we went towards the bridge, right? And you haven't been down there, but, so we built the two modules initially, and then we built a third module, when Clayton came online a few years ago, towards the bridge. There's already, the plans are done for a fourth module that wasn't installed yet. You could keep adding modules in that direction. After the fourth module, you'd probably have to get some property from the bridge authority. You'd have to purchase some more property in that direction.
And you, from a while, the village system, do they have the ability to do that same sort of expansion where they are? Or are they
Well, they're landlocked, they have limited real estate, so, you know, certainly you could increase the capacity there, in my opinion, but.
I know they've got an issue with stormwater that impacts
They have a
them,
big issue with storm.
whereas right now, that does not affect the one by Price Chopper, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we still have some storm flow issues too. When it storms and in the spring of the year, our flows go up. Every system does. No system's 100% tight to keep stormwater out, but certainly it's at a less, you know, our storm flows might be, and I'm just using this as an example, you know, our storm flows might be 3 or 4 times normal flows during a storm, where an older village might be 10 times, because it's that much leakier and allows that much.
Aren't some of their storm sewers connected to the sanitary sewer?
They may be, I'm not sure.
That's more than just straight infiltration. That's-
Yeah,
And then
it's called inflow.
they have a lot of,
Yeah. So, there used to be, I think most of those have been disconnected, that could be, but I still.
but they could be, that's a
There
track.
still could be.
And because there's a lot of places in the village that don't have real outfall, so the only real outfall goes in the sanitary sewer. And also there's a lot of, basement sump pumps that are connected to the system as well.
I think the discussion that Ron is, if I guess, what Ron is saying is that could the village could we improve the plan at Fisher's Landing or the bridge to take the village flows? Yes, but it was gonna be more difficult because they get these huge storm surges. So we'd have to oversize any expansion to take that, unless they can either reduce it or use the old plan as some sort of buffer and, you know, hold it. And that's not uncommon too with old leaky systems where you have storage capacity, where you can take that big storm flow and you may treat it to a certain level and release it, but also hold it in a storage facility or tanks basically and pump in at a slower rate after. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to approach it, but.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question? Rob, the sewage now, with Otter Street, we'll say, does that gotta get pushed? You know, it's gotta get pushed by pumps or something up there?
Correct, it's a force main.
It's obviously, they're not gravity.
It's a low pressure sewer system.
Right.
Yeah, all Route 12 is gonna be low pressure.
All, say Redwood Sewer, that's all a pressure system as well.
You know?
So
The nice thing about a low pressure sewer system like Redwood and like Route 12 is that everything's under pressure, so stormwater can't get in.
Right.
So your storm flows tend to be, you still get them, obviously, because you have people that connect drains and stuff, but they might only go up double in a storm instead of 10 times, like a full gravity system.
But
Yeah, everything's under pressure.
the village, I don't know, I can't say for certain, but I think over half of it is gravity. But they do have some lift pumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of ones.
You have 2 pumps.
They have 2 pump stations,
Two or three.
one on Outer Church, and then,
Well, there's one that I know on Otter Street.
yeah, and one on Outer Street, yeah. Everything else is gravity and.
Right, gravity ends up,
Yeah.
but older, you know, like back when I used to do the older systems tended to be more gravity.
Well, they always were.
And now
gravity, but they went
modern
right to the
design
sewer.
is all pretty much pump.
Catfishing.
Yeah.
Believe me, I did it.
I'm just saying that the
Cat
pumping
now.
stuff is much more common.
Common now.
Especially where there's rock,
Well, there's that to
so you
it.
don't have to dig.
Well, you don't have as deep in excavations, you know, to get grades and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
You know, pumping kind of overcomes that.
Anybody else for privilege of the floor? We'll move on to the agenda. Town engineer report is Rob.
So back to the Route 12 sewer, we responded to all DOT comments. We're just waiting for their review, their final permitting review in the permitting division of our region, so.
Didn't we get told a date on that, that's gonna take?
Well, he said it could take up to a month, but,
Okay. Anything else? I got the ready situation is the next item on the agenda.
yeah, well, we can talk, I don't know if you wanna talk about, the disinfection in Redwood.
Yeah,
That's down on your agenda, but I handed out just a little letter to you, Brent, and some information. So, Redwood sewer, pretty simple sewer plant, right? Everybody's got a grinder pump and it pumps into big septic tanks, basically, and then it goes through a sand filter and then out to Mud Lake. Well, just before it goes out to Mud Lake, it gets disinfected with an ultraviolet light system, right? It's pretty common. Actually, it wasn't that common when this was put in. It was kind of state of the art, back in 1990. The UV lighting system has been kind of held together with Band-Aids for quite a while and needs to be replaced. And this was one of the items that was in the member item grant that you got, you know, to buy more sewer pumps. So it will be covered under the grant. Jay's done a lot of legwork on this, and basically there's only one vendor we can find that has a system that's small enough to fit in the existing manhole, all right? The UV bulbs are in a trough in the bottom of a 6-foot diameter manhole. And there's only one vendor, and that's Trojan, that makes a replacement unit that goes into that. I've talked to other vendors, Jay's talked to other vendors. We got a quote through the distributor, Kester Associates, for that unit, installed, tested, and started up for $29,000 and change.
That's all covered by the grant?
That would be covered by the grant.
Yeah. It's a $125,000 grant.
Yeah, so I've included with my letter, you know, Kester's quote, and just the information if you're interested in what this disinfection system looks like. But I think you pretty much have to go with, this is your only option, unless the only way you could accommodate other options is to put a bigger vault in, bigger concrete, or another concrete manhole in, and that would far exceed the 29 grand to put one in. So my recommendation would be to go forward.
What's the life expectancy of this?
Well, you know, in my experience, electronic equipment, because this is electronic, there's a control panel, there's ballasts, there's bulbs that are replaced every I think in this case 12,000 hours.
Yeah.
We only run this, or Jay only operates this in the summer months, so it only runs 6 months out of the year. You don't have to run it in the winter time, only in the summer. Electronic equipment, I use, if you can get 15 years out of it, you're probably pretty good, 15 to 20 years. Jay's patched this together for over 30. So, but I think we replaced a lot of parts along the way. Everything's been replaced. The new bulbs are better than the old bulbs. They're 12,000 hour bulbs. If you do the math, the bulbs should last almost 3 years. So they're better than the old ones. You used to get 4,000 hours out of them or something.
One season.
Once a year.
Yeah.
So these bulbs are better. But,
So we got a grant for $125,000, that's a SAM grant, correct? And you just said 15 years, so in 15 years, we may have to replace these again, and we can't always guarantee that we have a grant.
Right.
So it just brings me to the point that we have created, Mike and the committee has created a line item on the billing that is for reserve, is that
We have
correct?
to build a reserve, but we gotta get into black first.
Yeah, so this reserve line item that they've created.
And that's things exactly like that.
Exactly, and that's where I'm going with this. That reserve is a result of the study that Dank did for us, that showed us all of these parts, how fast they wear, and what the cost is to replace them.
Yep.
So I'm just pointing out that this is the first year that we've created this reserve, and in 15 years, this is a $29,000 expense now. We know what happened to this expense in the last 3 years. Who knows? But that's why we've started these reserve funds for water and sewer districts, that they've never had them before. So just making sure that the public understands that that's what that reserve line item is.
Again, I've said this a bunch of times too, it's lucky in this instance we have a grant.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
not,
really.
you know, if we didn't have a grant, it'd be coming up with
Well, there's
30
two
grand.
schools of thought. I mean, a lot of times, a lot of these systems were heavily subsidized in the first place. So you can only save realistically to cover so much, right? Eventually, you're gonna have to do a capital project and get some outside funding.
No question, it's not like that, we're gonna have like a few $1,000,000. I mean, but we should have $100,000 to handle things like this, all right?
Yeah.
You need a motion to,
Yes.
okay, I'll make the motion.
Yep.
I'll second it.
It's a motion that we purchase the UV system here in front of us, that we have the quote from Kester. Motion by Ron, second by Sean. Any further discussion?
We got a timeline on when the grant's actually gonna come to us?
What the situation with this grant is, Rob, if I'm right, is that we have to spend all of the money.
Reimbursement.
Yeah, okay.
And then it takes forever to get it back.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's through DASNY and the Dormitory Authority of New York, and they're paying.
It's a slow
It's a slow
pay.
process. It could
But-
take you a year to get the money.
We have two SAM grants, and this is one of them for Redwood Sewer. The second one is for the Zamboni. And in this grant, we have been given the permission or the certification that we can spend the money and get paid back. The other one, we have not got that certification yet. So that's why I've been being warned about ordering the Zamboni, because we haven't got that certification that we need.
Yeah, so you'll get it, but
Yeah.
it could take a
It
while.
could take a while.
It's been 3 years right now.
Well,
Yeah.
wasn't it like at the town of Champion or something like that, they had a grant like this and it was like 10 years or something like that before they got their money?
I think they're trying to do better than that.
I think so.
No, I'm just saying, it was,
Yeah.
you know, it's great when they come with these big novelty checks and stuff like that, but
And the only reason I say they're getting better because DASNY are the ones who are funding the READY project.
Yeah.
That money is coming faster, okay, it's coming.
I'd like to, hey, Steve Jarvis, the mayor, there's a SAM grant for the chamber building renovation. How long has that been?
5 years.
Yeah, so there's another one that's waiting. No, but this one, going back to this one, we do have the necessary documentation that we can spend the money.
Yeah.
And we need to spend the money and then document everything and submit, because we could be how many years waiting for that money, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
It'll come.
so,
Yeah, that's fine.
that's discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none. Rob, do you have anything else?
Well, the Goose Bay boat launch, if you wanna talk about
Yep.
that right now. So we received bids yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. For the Goose Bay boat launch. Unfortunately, we only got one bid from Luck Brothers, and it was over $1 million. I gave you a copy of their bid breakdown. You can see at your leisure where the money was. I mean, we got basically $350,000 to spend. I also gave you a set of some of the drawings, just so you could see the extent of the work. So the work basically includes, extending the ramp, dredging out where we need to. It included blacktopping the small parking lot right next to the ramp, raising the bulkhead 8 or 10 inches, I forget exactly how much, adding some docks that are shown on the plan, adding a kayak ramp, doing some planting, some landscaping, and then improving the parking lot also up the road. So, I think a couple things, we only got one bid. I think it was too high, quite frankly. I think the numbers are way out of whack. And I think there was some other interest that didn't make it for various reasons, some other bids. So, I also think some of the things the village or the town would be better off direct purchasing, or procuring through other channels, instead of running it through a GC who adds markup, obviously, overhead, profit, insurance. For example, the floating docks, I think we can directly buy those from local vendors and not run them through the contractor. I think the paving work we could do through Supco or, through the town when they do paving with Supco. I think there's some work that the town highway department could do by calling a fill-in to improve the parking lot and clearing some of the trees. So I think we gotta take a quick look at this and kind of pare the contractor scope down, and do more with the town highway and direct procurement to try to get as much as we can for the $350,000 that we have, okay? So I'm recommending that you reject the bid, we step back, take a quick look at it, and then rebid it once we modify the scope.
You're saying that Luck Brothers, out of Plattsburgh.
Yeah, yep.
Right now, we have a streetscape project that has many of the exact same components. Right, why aren't we talking to that, them?
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing exactly the same stuff,
And they were one of the folks that had interest in.
Okay.
Yeah, they definitely were interested
Yeah.
in.
So there were some details that didn't allow them to get a number to us in time yesterday, so.
Okay, I just.
Yep, so I think it would
They've
open
already
up.
mobilized, they're here,
Yep, so I think that would open things up.
So, and Rob and I had a conference call today with some state officials about this. And we kind of ran by them what we were thinking about doing, exactly as Rob just talked about it, our own procurement and our town highway department doing work and so on and so forth. And we basically got the verbal okay to do it that way, because I said that we may pass a resolution tonight so that we can put, rejecting the bid and putting this back out to bid.
Correct.
With some changes.
So that's my recommendation.
So, the first thing,
I was just gonna say, I'll make the motion to reject the bid.
reject the bid.
Yeah.
So I got a motion from Ron to reject the bid, I got a second from Gene. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. And Rob, how do we do the deal about putting, a resolution about putting it back out to bid with a couple dates?
Sure, so I think if we can look it up, I don't think this is gonna take a lot of time to put it back out to bid. I think we can, the documents are pretty much done, we just limit the work that the contractor will bid on and get it right back out on the street. I think we can do that have changes made within a week, and put it out to bid. So we have bids back, prior to your next board meeting, would be my suggestion.
Do we need to be involved in, between now and a week when they,
I'm thinking that, Rob, can you do as far as the changes on the?
Yeah, I think with some
He probably
input.
wants to know what that is, right?
Yeah, I think we look at it and, there should be some, input as to what, Mike and Brent were pretty much involved in the original design.
I mean, I talked to you as soon as I got here. I don't think the dock's in that bad a shape.
No, we were actually expanding the adding
Yep.
the fingers, yeah, yeah. And quite frankly, if that's a piece we gotta knock off and do it in a year or two,
It's not,
it's not critical?
you could do it. It's not as critical as fixing the ramp.
The
and
ramp
adding
is-
parking. I think those are the priorities.
I think so
down there.
too.
Yep.
Yeah, so the docks, we could get the bid on the ramp, the other necessary things, and if you have money left over, buy docks even later,
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
They're all permitted, the permit's good for 3 years, the docks, if we wanna, extend them.
So can we, or do we need to specify exactly what we're gonna change right now for this resolution to?
Yeah,
He's gonna need it.
that's what I was getting at, yeah.
We can, if you want to.
Okay.
So we talk about taking number 9 out,
I mean, I think you're taking a lot of
right,
this.
taking number 13 out.
Yeah, so I think the in-water work is probably critical that a contractor do that. We did the exact same thing in Orleans where we kept the contractor, doing all the in-water work. You gotta put a turbidity curtain up, when you gotta dredge, you gotta put the new ramp in, and have a contractor do the in-water work. It would require a barge and an excavator, but then basically everything else could be an alternate.
Dredging still necessary?
Dredging was necessary, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, so right at the end of the reason why we're doing this is at the end of the existing ramp. Number one, it's too short. Number two, there's a hump right out there. Gene, you probably have used that ramp.
Yeah.
So, wanna try to fix that best we can. The gangway, the floating docks and anchor blocks, you could see that piece. That could be pulled out. The kayak, launch could be pulled out. The dry fire hydrant, we could put in later. Is there a dry hydrant there now? I I don't think so.
I don't think
Not
so.
sure.
I
No.
can't picture one.
I don't think so.
No, I think one of the fire departments may have requested that. The shrubbery and the rain garden, there was a request by the adjoining property owner to do some plantings in between the little parking lot and the neighbor, and also some plantings between the parking lot and the water, but that could be done with a local landscape contractor.
Yeah.
I think we'll pull that out.
He contacted me this morning and wanted to know how the numbers work.
I think all the asphalt and stone base could be pulled out
Yeah.
and either done with town forces or Sutco. And as well as the walkway, there's a pedestrian walkway from a path basically from the upper parking area, the big trailer area, down to the ramp. So that's quite a bit of work, I think, that we can pull out, if you agree.
That's 9 through 14.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty much.
Right.
Actually, 9 through 15. Or 9 through 15.
15, okay.
Yeah. But basically, we would leave 3 through 8, or 1 through 8.
That's over $400,000 of the million,
500.
You know.
probably closer to 5.
And I think rebidding will get more competitive pricing on items 1 through 8.
Yeah.
So, do we wanna do a motion that we, eliminate numbers 9 through 15?
Can we put
Or do you
the
wanna
dry
make them
hydrant in as an
Make them
option?
as alternates.
Yeah.
But I think we get bids on them, but make them as alternates. Yeah,
And if we wanna include some, we have the option.
right.
So
That's, yeah.
9 through 15 to be alternates. So they bid on them and
Right.
kinda pick and choose if we wanted to, or just not take
If we
any
get
of
a
them.
good price on one, we might wanna pick,
Yeah.
if not,
Okay. So I'll take a motion to
put it out to rebid.
have us put it out, back out to bid. The date, Rob, that you had chosen for this?
So, let's just see here. So if we get it back in the sun on no later than next Wednesday,
25th?
the 25th, we could open it on, May 1st, or I'm sorry, June 1st. Right, gives a week to clean things up. Yeah, so we open bids June 1st, and then it'd be far in advance of your next meeting, and we could have a full special meeting if we needed to. None of this work is gonna happen until after Labor Day anyway, right? We got a little time.
So I'll take a motion that we do that with a bid opening date of May 1st, again at 2 o'clock.
June 1st.
I'm sorry, June 1st.
I'll make the motion to put number 9 through 15 of the original bid as an alternate.
Yep.
With the bid opening date to be June 1st,
That's your motion,
and go into the paper by the 25th of this month.
okay? Need a second?
I'll second
By Sean. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. Anything else, Rob?
I don't think so.
You got them here for the reimbursement.
Oh, the 80%, how are we doing on that?
I don't know, I've gotta check with Nicole and see if we've done anything yet.
Okay.
Good, let me check on it, I'll follow up with you.
Okay. Okay. That brings us to Norris, to a zoning report.
Okay, for the month of April, we gave out 18 permits, making 21 year-to-date. We had 3 subdivisions, making 10 year-to-date. 3 variances was granted, making 4. There was none denied. There was 2 site plans, and 2 of them had not been yet completed, okay? That makes 3 for the year. There were no special use permits. There was 3 violation letters sent out, and also, well, it's actually 5 violation letters were sent, making 11 for a total. no court cases settled, one lot line making 3 for the year-to-date, and one foil making 2 for the year-to-date. And money-wise, the total for the month was $1,420.
Do you have a special meeting scheduled?
Yeah, we got one, the 23rd.
And there's 3 items at that, right?
There's 3 items of that, and there'll be another one, this is planning board now. And then the next planning board meeting will be on the 13th of June, and there is 5 for that. And the variance board, for the first Monday in June, at the present time, they have 3, but you have to Saturday to bring it in, at our cutoff date.
So they've got a lot going on. They were here last week. So I believe, what was that, midnight?
11 o'clock, quarter after 11.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things going on in the town. Thank you, Norris, is that?
Also, I wanted to say that, what you know, there's 2 parties that have went to the court, that are gonna be called into court because of trash and one thing or another. And that went to the court today, and I gotta send, one of them's already been put in the mail, the other one I'll do tomorrow. Take it to the post office. And we've got one more that we're gonna fill out Saturday. Same situation.
Okay. Thank you, Norris. We'll move on to the report of cleanup of town properties, which he actually just talked about. He's been citing these properties, and we're in a couple of those, we're in the 30-day wait period, because they have 30 days to clean them up. Okay. I know that Ron is working on one himself, right?
Yep.
Yep. Water report, Jamie.
Alright, so in the water departments, I've been doing my daily, weekly, and monthly testing, bi-weekly reads. Since our last board meeting, I've replaced 6 meters that were froze and broke in seasonal houses. I've cleaned and replaced chlorine injectors at both pump stations. Been doing seasonal water turn-ons. In the sewer, I've just been working with Jay as needed. The DPW, we've repaired the tail lights on the 1 ton. I've been up to the ball fields, York raking, leveling that out. We took benches up there. We put out 2 speed signs, one on Millsy Island, one in, just as you're coming into Redwood on 192. Skid steers back from Watertown, it's all repaired, backup alarm, lights, everything is working on it now. And we've been working with Dennis and Donald with the mower when needed.
Okay, and something that was brought up to me today is on the bottom of this list, it talks about the vacuum trailer, the vacuum that we had budgeted, we budgeted $13,650, and the newest quote is $20,930. I was told today that Teresa bought a vacuum, or was it Arlene's?
Well, that's fine.
Arlene's has a brand new.
Teresa has a vac truck.
This is a little bit different.
An old one, that old yellow one.
Yep.
So what I'm getting at is that communities around us have these. We're buying this UV system for $29,000. This is all for Redwood Sewer, correct? Yeah. Maybe we need to talk to the 2 townships around us that have that.
Yeah, but when we need it, it was on a Sunday afternoon, so are we gonna call 3 South, get somebody, within the budget, or,
Yeah.
so.
Well, maybe we need to talk about this at budget time and try to have a figure in there that's either more accurate, or unless the board wants to go ahead and spend the $20,000 on the vacuum truck. That's up to what the board wants to do.
I think we need to provide I mean, we either own it or we get it from somebody else, but we need to, they don't have that now, you don't have, right?
No,
They
right now,
do it by hand.
Yeah, they gave us that brief description.
Yeah,
that
we
you
don't wanna
emailed.
hear
That was enough.
Yeah.
But if there's, I understand the community, you need it right away.
right.
But if there's some way that Orleans, if they'd be interested, even if, you know, we paid, a premium rate for their labor and stuff like that, but we need to put it on paper to see if it's cheaper to own or cheaper to have that. How often does it happen? How often would they be willing to do it?
Yep.
If they're not willing to do it, that answers it right there.
So what they have is a vacuum truck?
Teresa,
Yeah, but
No,
there's
they-
a difference. What,
We,
like a
but
back
the
truck,
vacuum truck isn't gonna work
it's not,
because
the back trucks are used for like sucking out
the pots are on little
DI, catch
people's
basins,
yards.
stuff like that, they're not,
So, I
but
mean,
this
you're
is
not
meant
gonna
to
take a
suck
back
out
truck out and
sewage.
drive in somebody's
You can't
yard
use it for that.
in the, you know, in the middle of April.
Well, I know Gene had looked around a little bit, and he had some, he'd come across some other things that I talked to Jay about, and, cause Jay got the information from Gene, and maybe we need to just keep looking. Unless you wanna,
Well, what's the unit, the truck sounds like that's not gonna work, you're gonna ruin somebody's lawn.
This
But
is the-
what about the unit that,
No, what the purpose of this is, the sewer pots and stuff that need to be worked on, and it's just actually suck out sewage, not a bunch of leaves
we
and
got
stuff.
the description, we're
It's a whole
what it
different-
does,
no,
yeah.
they don't have a vac truck for leaves, they have an old septic truck to pump out their sewers.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, when you're talking about the sewer back truck, isn't what they're looking for.
It sounds like they needed it yesterday.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, Jamie, you're the one who
every time it breaks down.
climbs
we gotta
down
deal
in
with
these
it.
pots,
Yeah.
I've watched you do
Yeah.
it, what are your,
For the last 20 years, we've been using
Yeah.
a sump pump. It goes into a 55-gallon drum,
That's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
you
Yeah.
know.
where do we get the money?
That's, they're already in the red.
Yep.
Well, that's what I was asking about Orleans, you said that the truck in Teresa is inappropriate for what we need.
Right, that's not gonna
What
work.
about Orleans?
Orleans trailer only holds 100 gallons, it's not big enough for our pots,
Okay,
is
so
my
it eliminates
understanding.
that.
Okay,
Yeah, we need at least 200 gallon. You know, gallon, that's fine.
So you're saying we're in the red, but we've been in the red, right?
I know, no, you're right,
Yeah,
you're right,
I mean, the one,
yeah.
One thing that I can-
If you're up to here, you can go up to here.
yeah.
the one thing that I can say is that spending as much time as I've spent with the comptroller's office on these audits and looking at the water and sewer, is that if we were to go to the general fund to purchase this, they require that the general fund be paid back within 12 months of.
Well, no, it's worse than that, it's within the fiscal year,
Fiscal year, yeah, that's
it's
right.
within the fiscal year. Which I, you know,
It's not gonna happen.
What's left
Not
on the
gonna happen.
SAM grant after we buy the UV and we bought the pumps?
but
What's left in the
are
SAM?
we there?
That's a good point.
Because we had this, in the list of the SAM items.
That's a good idea, $7,000.
Now, we're spending more, the price went up on the UV, I know that, and I don't know how much we've spent on grinder pumps, but there may be some money there that.
Cause we're $7,000 short.
We need
So-
is 7,300, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It was already-
obviously,
Well, it's already budgeted.
It was already budgeted, we're
13,600
$7,300
Gotcha.
over what
Oh,
was
okay,
budgeted.
gotcha.
Yeah, I think there's money in that SAM grant that
Yeah.
might reach that.
Yeah.
Do it.
Go there.
Well, then if we
Yeah.
can cover it with what was budgeted in the SAM grant,
Yeah.
Well, what it comes down to with was budgeted in the SAM grant is we also have a general area in that SAM grant that we put into buying sewer pumps.
Right,
So if we
A
only
couple
buy
less pumps.
15 sewer pumps instead of 20,
right, you're covered.
Do that.
yeah. I think, you wanna talk to Jay, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna speak for Jay,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know, it's up to him.
Yeah, Doris.
I just, nothing about the sewer, but on those, water meters, if the people won't call Jamie to come and drain the water out of them and unhook them, I hope they have to pay for that meter.
I agree, I was gonna ask
Yes,
that
they
same
do.
question.
They do,
They get
okay.
billed for it?
Yes,
Mhm. And I hope they
That's
get billed.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
They get paid, or they get billed, I charge $50 more than what it cost us. So that includes my time going and changing it, you know, so.
And $50 on top of that.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I've been with these
This
guys.
has been an odd year. I've never had this many. I don't know if people are just getting lazy, or if it was a little bit colder winter, I don't know. Some of these houses I've never been to. I mean, you usually, every year, you get the same people that they winterize your camp and walk away and your meter breaks, and they're happy with paying $200 to have a new meter put in, and
Okay.
Okay.
What would happen if you put a letter in, say in September, when you bill them at some time? Tell them that
we have,
it didn't work?
Well, are we in a position here to make a motion about using the SAM grant money for the extra 70, what was it, Sean, you said
7,300.
7,300.
It appears that the price of this thing is going up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
not,
we're
it's
just-
not going down anytime
No, so
soon.
we might as well,
Yeah, I think what Jamie's saying, though, check with Jay first, because it's if it's pumps or, he might say, hold off on that.
Right.
Maybe he wants another 10 pumps, I don't know.
right, I don't wanna speak for Jay, so I think you should talk to Jay.
I wish I had that list that we had all the items on it for the 125,000, because the first list that we did, we were short of the
I was
125,000.
gonna say, it didn't use it all up.
No, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the UV has jumped in price with all,
Right. Yeah, that's true, that might have taken care
yeah,
of
they
that.
take it some, but I know that,
So does
that
that-
back trailer was in the COVID. I can look and
So does that
get
mean
back.
we don't wanna do a motion tonight and get this thing going, or we wanna do a motion pending Jay's?
Well, they're the ones that have to deal with the delay. I mean,
Yeah, I just don't wanna speak for Jay.
no, I understand, yeah,
He's in charge of the city.
right,
You want me to call Jay?
Why don't you?
yeah,
We're all here so we can get it done.
yeah.
So the question that I'm asking
Call a
him
friend.
is,
I mean, if it means not ordering an additional pump or two,
How much
I
are
think that's
pumps?
a better way to
New
go.
pumps are kinda nice.
1,800?
I know.
How much are pumps, 1,800?
I believe,
We just bought a bunch of them here.
Yes, we did.
What'd we do, 20 of them?
Something like that, but I'm just saying, you know, that we're proposing to buy, just don't buy those.
Yep.
This sounds like something that is more needed now, you know, I mean, additional
Sounds like
pumps
it
are
was
great.
needed a while
don't get me
ago.
wrong.
Yeah.
wow.
Call a friend, right?
Hey Jay, it's Brent, we're at a board meeting, you're on speakerphone and everybody's hearing you, okay?
Okay.
That's just a warning, just a warning, no four-letter words, okay?
Gotcha.
Unless you're talking about the substance that you take out of those sewer pumps. So, our discussion here, we wanna buy the vacuum, apparatus that you have priced and that you guys need, so that you don't have to climb down in those barrels and deal with that stuff. And the price is $20,000, we have $13,600 budgeted. We're wondering if we can buy a few less sewer pumps or a few less somethings of the $125,000 that we're gonna get through the SAM grant, so that we can buy this $20,000 item.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. The only thing I don't know, and Rob is there, and I'm sure he can tell you, if that would fall under what we're allowed to buy from the grant.
He's shaking his head,
I
yes.
think it is. I
Okay,
think we
well, if
talked
that
about
is, and we can buy it with that, if there's enough there, that'd be awesome.
Ask him
That's
how he's
something we
doing on
really
spare
need,
pumps.
because, I mean, Jamie can tell you, I'm sure he's there, and he knows what it is, cause him and I do them all, and it's nasty. And we've used one in the past here, just recently, we used the Village's large one that they have, and that thing will just, I mean, it just makes it so clean, and you can just suck the stuff out, and especially a lot of these pots are full of wipes, and when they're full of wipes, I mean, we I think it'd be a great addition to the sewer plant.
What
We
about,
can use it all around. We can use it for water, sewer leaks and things like that, so.
so you use the villages, how did that work and how is their machine?
Their machine is a big machine. It's a really big one, but it's like 5 times the money of what we're spending. But it's the same principle. Theirs is like a
Can you rent it
6-inch
from them?
suction pipe.
Ask him.
I believe this
I know.
one's 3, and, you know, I think it's a lot bigger unit, but they have water and everything. They bought theirs like to do what we're doing, plus like clean out curb boxes. It has a jet that goes down in, and, I mean, it's a much more elaborate machine, obviously, and it worked great for what we did. We used it, I mean, it was awesome. It worked great.
We have some village people here, and I think we probably would like to ask them, is there an arrangement we could put together so that we could rent your machine? And would that machine take care of the problem of what you guys need?
You guys,
Well, I mean, it is, but their machine is really big, and it's not something, the one that I've been looking at is a 300-gallon tank, and like, we could take that to people's homes and back it out on the lawn and things like that, and it's right here. The problem with the village's machine is that we wouldn't use it, you know, we'd have to go to Alex Bay every time to get it, and those guys are trained to use it, we're not. I mean, I don't think that borrowing it on a regular basis is probably a good practice. We should have our own, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Okay?
Okay, thanks, Jay.
All right,
Yep,
anytime.
have a good night, yep.
Yep.
So on a Sunday afternoon, you know, you go and change a pump out, by the time you call the village, they get a guy come in, bring it, you're talking 2-3 hours, where if we had one, you're talking an hour. And we can be done in,
I've seen the one the village has, it's a large unit that you tow behind a truck, is that correct?
Brand new, we just bought it.
Did he say 6-inch hose?
Yeah.
That's awful big to be sticking down in those drums. Discussion?
Takes nothing to train you guys. I mean, if we could work out something to train and.
if one of our guys got trained,
Where does it sit?
would you let, yeah. Did
What's
it,
that?
Where does it sit?
Carnegie Bay,
Barn.
Carnegie Bay Road then?
Yeah.
So you guys be, if our guys got trained on it, they'd be allowed to go get it and bring it back?
I'm sure we could work something out.
And then we'd actually physically pay you, cause I think for the use of it.
Or in-kind service or something, yeah, I mean, we can work that out. We can bring it up at the village board meeting next month and, sure, we can work something out with the town.
And that's available
That would save you,
now. Yeah,
save the town residents a chunk of money,
yeah.
big time.
You try it for a while? It sounds like you've used it,
we have.
and what was what'd you have to use it for?
We used it to, clean out one of the catch basins up at the sewer plant itself.
Okay,
Jay had them, he pumps them out twice a year,
okay.
so we just asked him to come over and clean the main tank that is, what the first treatment is. So, I guess what I'm getting at is, by the time we get sewer pump call, we drive, so you're gonna be paying 2 guys 2 hours extra overtime to go do all this, where,
But you gotta drive to the village, it's gonna take 15 minutes?
yep, you gotta dump it,
Gotta clean it.
you gotta clean it, you gotta make, in the wintertime,
Mhm.
well, I guess it's
Don't you
inside.
have to do that with the other one too?
Well, the other one we can put right inside our barn. I mean, like I said,
No, I'm just trying to understand if,
it's just, it's a matter of convenience, you know? Yeah, I myself think we should have our own, I mean,
How many sewer pumps have you guys been replacing? I know that number is going up every month.
we've been doing probably 3 or 4,
3 to 4 a month?
yeah.
Yep.
You know, I mean, ideally, if it was Monday through Friday from 7 to 3:30, it'd be a great idea, but, you know, Sunday afternoon, you know.
I was gonna say that.
You're at a chicken barbecue or something like that, you don't wanna spend all afternoon chasing after stuff. I mean, I think it's crazy to borrow somebody's stuff. That's just my feelings, but.
And I heard Jay's feelings there too, and these guys are the guys climbing in this thing. I like the idea that Rob's talking about and using the SAM money, $7,000.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that we need a unit. I guess it's a matter of where's the unit coming from, because the system they got now they should not have to do that. And the problem is with this equipment, like a lot of equipment we have, it sits most of the time.
Yep.
Because until there's a problem, it sits.
Mm-hmm.
So with the village, it's sitting a lot, with us, it's sitting a lot. Instead of having two pieces of equipment sit, we got one piece of equipment sit. If it's gonna be overall less expensive, because it would also free up $13,000 that we have budgeted to buy even more grinder pumps. And I mean, to drive to the village, it's only 15 minutes each way. I realize there'll be more time. You'll have to, instead of driving to, say, the sewer plant, you drive to Carnegie Bay and then come back. I don't know. And it would also, I would think, keep the overall cost to the Redwood sewer down. Because we're gonna buy more grinder pumps. That's an ongoing deal. This is not the end of it.
No.
And so this would be that many more grinder pumps
There's no end.
that we would not have to buy outside the SAM grant.
Yep. Anybody else have thoughts on this?
And if we go a year and it doesn't work, we can address this in the next year's budget.
That's probably the best statement right there. Let's try it for a period of time, see how it works.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, then we can't say it didn't try.
I was gonna say, if we're gonna try it for a period of time, I'd say the period of time we're gonna try it for is from right now until September or October, because in October, we will finalize our budget.
Right.
And if this doesn't work, we're gonna have to find a way to put the $20,000 machine in our budget, which won't be extremely difficult if we don't spend the $13,000 this year.
All right.
Any more thoughts?
That sound reasonable, Steve? Does that sound reasonable?
Very.
Okay.
How about you, Jamie?
Whatever you guys wanna do. You know what, more than likely, we're just gonna keep doing it the same way we are.
So you would pass up going to the village to get that piece of equipment?
And when it comes to, I mean, you got this thing, it weighs, I mean, probably full of water, so, I mean, that's what, a 500-gallon tank on it, so.
But you're not gonna fill the tank, you're gonna put, like right now, you're doing 55-gallon drums.
Right.
And you're doing multiple 55-gallon drums, right?
Right, probably 150.
Okay, so 3 55-gallon drums you're filling right now. So instead of having those 3, you're gonna have the same amount of fluid in their piece of equipment.
Yeah. You know what, whatever you guys wanna do.
We'll just say try it, that's what we're saying, is try it.
You know what, we'll have wheels on speed dials, so when we back it out in somebody's yard and it gets buried, we'll just have them come pull us out. Right? You know, I mean,
So that you can't run a hose? You can't run a hose to, I don't know how this works. So I realize we don't wanna ruin somebody's lawn. We don't wanna have wheels on speed dial.
I mean, you know where some of these sewer pots are. I mean,
I know where they are, and I've been with you to go get them, to do them.
Convenient places.
Right, but can you run a hose? There's people that have septic tanks. Can you have a hose long enough to be able to do that without, the lawn is a very legitimate concern.
Yep. No, I hear both sides here, so don't get me wrong here, but.
Yeah.
What do you do, the one that was proposed to us, it's a trailer, right?
it's a trailer, but I believe that's got a,
You gotta use a
like
truck?
2-inch hose.
Yeah, it's smaller.
It's
Was it like
small.
100
Easier to
foot?
handle.
So how do you get it back to this difficult location?
Well, with a 2-inch hose, you can handle it, but you start dragging a 6-inch hose,
Oh, okay,
200 foot off the road,
yep,
it's a whole different deal.
yep.
And you can't throttle that down to, I don't know, I just, in other words, you get.
I really don't know much about their machine, I mean, I know it's got a 6-inch hose on it.
Right,
I don't know if it can be, narrowed down to a 2-inch.
right.
I got no idea.
I'm just saying it'd be worth looking into those, if you could use the same size hose and everything.
Well,
Maybe we could meet, take a look at it.
right. I was gonna say,
Check with the manufacturer if there's an adapter that can,
yeah, I mean, no matter what, it's yours, and it wouldn't be right of us to modify your stuff
Well-
to meet our needs.
No, but if we bought the fittings and
Right,
everything.
but I mean, we'd still need their okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
but if we take a look at it and we can modify it through an adapter to a smaller hose that they can use without having to back it in on
Right.
somebody's lawn, then let's take a look at it.
I don't know if you wanna do that either, cause then you
What's
get into
that?
the same issue he was talking about before, you, say we have a 2-inch on it, right, and they have a 6-inch, now you're going, every time they go down, they're swapping out a 6-inch for a 2-inch, bring it back, take the 2-inch off, put a
I just know the
6-inch on.
ones we've got, they got quick disconnects with levers on it.
Yep,
They go on and off.
I wouldn't know what
real
the
quick.
hell I was looking at if you even, put it in front of me really, but. They're both trailered, right? Are they both?
Yes, yes, they are.
Right, so they're both gonna be in somebody's driveway,
Yep, minimum, right?
But
so it's a hose.
if I was the guy that was having to stick an arm or head or wherever the hell into one of these things, pull up whatever, like they're having to do on a somewhat regular basis, I'd like what is the most expedient, easiest, fastest.
Cleanest.
I mean, every, that's what me personally. If there was my job to get into these things, I wouldn't wanna be doing it any more complicated than possible, I mean, what you're doing now is pretty complicated.
They
Put a
shouldn't
sump
have to
pump
do what they're doing now.
into a barrel that you're gonna have to take care of.
I'll give up, where I'm headed on this, so I'm done.
Yeah.
It's fine, we can go ahead.
Well,
Modify it a
I'm in
little bit
favor.
longer.
I'm just saying, if that's the most expedient and fastest and best, go that route,
And, these are the guys who do it, the 2 of them, and they've done it for a long time. As I said, everybody saw the description of what happened, how this happens and what it's about, and it's not good. Very, very unhealthy and nasty is
Right, and both these pumps are gonna make that 1,000% better. But if it's a problem, it's gonna create a problem, it's not worth discussing. And so we'll have, instead of buying more grinder pumps with the money, we'll buy less in order to be able to fund the increase.
Well, that may not be the case if we don't we don't have all that money budgeted, first of all, and second of all, if, the $7,000 is accessible through the sand grant.
Right, but we already know the UV is coming out of that was so chances are, whatever.
So I'll take a motion, if anybody's ready to do something here.
I'll make the motion to buy the trailer,
Motion by Gene?
contingent on we can use the money from the SAM grant
Yes.
to make up the difference.
So in other words, less grinder pumps. Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately.
I'll second that.
Second, any further discussion? I'd just like to say that I think we could need Rob to dig into this a little bit and make sure, Ronnie said less grinder pumps, I don't know where we are with the numbers there.
Yeah, I don't know
Because
either.
as Ronnie said earlier, and I agree with Ronnie, the original number was not 125,000 that we had everything that added up to. Times have changed, prices have gone up, maybe we're there with the
I think
list
the
we have.
UV's got us there.
Because we have a
Yeah,
we
I
have
don't
a
know how
list.
many pumps you ultimately bought, I don't know what that number is. so I think we gotta get that accounting of what you purchased.
I mean, we bought 2 batches of 20 grinder pumps
Yes.
in the last year, right? So we bought 40.
So if there's 40, so that's, if they're $2,000 a piece, that's 80 grand, plus 30, that's 110. So we got 15 grand maybe, I don't know, quick math, that's all you bought, right?
Yes.
But if we're getting enough grinder pumps, we only need $7,200 or whatever, we're not talking about, there's some, we can do without a few grinder pumps and stay within the budget. It sounds like it's not gonna be a problem.
Right.
If there's that many grinder pumps involved.
Yeah.
No problem.
We bought 40 of them, but that, we can verify the accounting,
Okay.
right?
Oh, that's right, we've already bought them.
You've already bought the ground.
You've already
bought them.
Okay.
And, so you must have a stockpile over there of new
Right.
stuff, or some.
Yeah, and 10,
70.
I think 20 of those grinder pumps were in last year's budget.
Swain,
So I guess
They didn't come out of the SAM grant.
36, 72,000.
You can check with Nicole on how that all.
Yeah, because I remember the bill for $36,000 for the 20, and I think that those were in our budget, that they didn't come out of the 125,000. The second 20 did, because we told Jay to get them ordered, because we need to spend this money to get this money. So, any other discussion on it? All those in favor of it signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none. Jamie, you take care of putting that together and ordering it and what has to be done?
I'll take care of it. I'll tell Jay tomorrow to order it.
Okay. That's the water report, the sewer report, he pretty much did the sewer report too, right?
I think that was this, right?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the items and I saw as he talked about them. Village Hall 5 loads, regular duties, septic to Watertown, worked on the fields, as Jamie said, baseball, for the baseball games, helped Jamie as needed. Quote for the UV lights and the vacuum trailer that we're talking about. Increasing prices, what is the? Okay, so we're good there, we're gonna go to the spy UV system, we made that motion, we'll go to the arena report. Anybody have anything for arena report? I know that Sean and the youth program have been using the arena quite a bit, right?
Yep, pretty frequently, so I
We've
guess,
had some pickleball usage at the arena, that mostly happens on cold, windy, or rainy days. It's usually short notice, but Donald and Dennis are doing an excellent job at handling that. And, they've got 3 courts in, we have two nets and 3 courts. If need be, we can borrow a net maybe from the village, at certain times, so. That's all that I know that's going on at the arena. Anything that you know, Sean?
nope, about it.
On this, agenda, I've got the deal about we have to come up with a rate for the school, for the use of the arena, but we'll talk about that when we get there. DPW report, Jamie already gave, the youth program report will be Sean.
That kinda, do you mind if I loop into 24?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
Alright, so, indoor soccer just came to a close, still in the middle of baseball, softball season, stuff like that. Jamie's been getting the fields ready. And some of my time with Matt Chase, and I gotta credit Matt Chase a lot for this, is we've really been building this relationship with the school now with our program. It's good. I had a sit-down meeting with Terry Lowe and Diane Bush, and the big topic of discussion obviously is the turf and the project that's coming up at the school, which is the new gymnasium, which sounds like it's moving forward now. Their request to us is, what rate can we give the school if they commit September to whenever ice goes on, Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. And I said that I think it would be worth us talking about what that would look like. I believe we settled on a $75 an hour
Sounds familiar.
rate beforehand. Just a suggestion to Brent in conversation, $50 an hour or something for the school. It gives a constant
How many hours a day?
7,
5 days a week?
5 days a week for
Okay.
September till, and Matt and I have had some discussions about when we put the ice on at the rink. I mean, we might wanna really keep an eye on that varsity schedule and see when it has to be there. And, you
I
know,
think we're talking first or second week in November.
yes. Which typically, I think it's on by the 1st, maybe?
Well,
varsity practice used to be the first week in November, and they used to try to put the ice down.
Yeah.
Because they always found busted pipes, and they jackhammer the concrete, fix the pipes, and then
I don't know about, but I mean, there's,
a couple weeks ahead of time for them
right, but
getting
you have to
that.
get everything ready. But
Yeah.
it'd be, you know, so if you're gonna start practice on this day, then probably a couple weeks back is where you start the ice.
Yeah.
At least.
I
And
don't
you
know if
gotta,
they're still having those problems with
you gotta paint the
busted
floor.
pipes and that
I'm
happens.
not sure, you know, I guess a lot of their practices are happening in Clayton now, so it gives us a bit of an opportunity, I think, to work with them, maybe even
Yeah.
extend it. I don't know, it was a good productive meeting, and it's something I think that we really obviously should.
Oh, yeah, well, now that you bring that up, think about it this way, okay? Because you're looking 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, 35 hours a week total, $50 an hour, $17.50 is, okay, with no compressors running.
no, that's what I said, okay.
Yeah, and so if Clayton, with their ice times, got enough ice time to be able to handle the practices the first part of November, we can extend the time
Yeah,
that we don't,
That's what we
still got an income stream coming.
yeah, that's.
I was gonna say,
Clayton gets more rental than they would've.
Yep, and I think that the pressure we may face, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just saying, I don't know when the figure skating club starts.
Yeah.
I know they like it on late, but that's a program that's been around for a long time, and
Right.
they're on that ice a lot.
You know, if we,
Excuse me.
I think that's a good idea, but we've already, over time, given a great amount of ice time to Clayton, and never got it back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
that,
was
most
supposed
of
to be-
that has been minor hockey, I believe.
Yeah, but I'm saying, it was supposed to be, I think the original deal was like 50-50,
Yeah,
not even
yeah.
close.
It was supposed to.
I know, but we're talking high school.
No, I know, but I'm just talking about ice time. I'm, you know,
Right.
I'm not talking about.
And I think from conversations with the school again is, you'll see them running quite a bit of ice time too.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, if we push it and lose that ice time, because it's a school, we know 100% we're gonna get it back. So then we haven't gotta worry about doing without it, say for 2 or 3 weeks, and then oops, we lost it for the whole season. Well,
Yeah, no, I'm just pointing out the fact that,
Yeah.
you know, we're losing ground as far as rental of ice.
Yeah. I guess the moral of the story is, when the time comes, we you know, see where the sweet spot is of extending turf compared to making ice.
yeah,
And that is gonna be dependent on Clayton and their availability with the high school, and how much do we actually wanna push off.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I don't wanna
If we
push
could
off.
talk to those folks and
That's
kinda-
just
Yeah.
the hockey
You know,
player.
right.
So
So,
we talk to Clayton and say, okay, at the beginning part of the year, we're gonna, you know, practice times will be over there, but if we offset by later on in the year, there's more over here.
Well, let me ask you, what's the ideal for it's not like the school's need is gonna end the end of October. Their need.
is actually, it's not finite, I mean, it's,
In other words, when we stop,
long as
when we put
school
ice
is
down, they now have a problem.
they have nothing,
They have nothing,
they have nothing.
right?
Which I mean, I'm sure they're working some other avenues that would probably include transportation, other
Right,
places and
yeah.
stuff like that, but, there's nothing out there.
Okay.
Around
looking
us,
for-
obviously, for that.
Yeah.
So it's something to keep an eye
Something to think
on. I
about.
mean, it's,
So I guess the question you had was, what's the hourly rate?
yes.
Can we live with $50 an hour?
I'm gonna just to throw some numbers around, it works out to $1,750 a week. If we're looking at 10 weeks, which in those 2 months, there's 9 weeks, we're looking at, you know, $16,000, let's say. I got the revenue sheets as everybody else does here for what that rink takes in. We definitely will be helping our revenue situation out at the rink.
Yeah.
And our
This is,
electric bill isn't gonna be even
yeah.
close to it.
And this is just, keep in mind, we've had some other discussions too, this is strictly school. There's gonna be hours available to
Oh, yeah.
marketed channels at the $75 an hour rate, that's
Right.
gonna cut this number even.
And there's gonna be astroturf in there.
Yeah, I just think that,
That's gonna open a doorway.
yep.
Yeah,
And we're also gonna have ice off of the rink by probably the last week of March. So then, we open up to, I
Yeah,
would imagine the school's gonna wanna use it in the spring.
yeah, you know, that's another thing that we talked about is maybe get, you know, I think we hold the ice for like 2 weeks strictly for the figure skating club. Yeah, I'm a huge supporter of the figure skating club, but, man, that would be huge, again, because immediately, they almost have an immediate need.
Right.
And they've thrown ideas, there's camps, soccer camps, you know, we'll talk about lacrosse is in here now. We're getting some outside pressure now to start a lacrosse program within our youth program, cause it's huge up in Clayton, which won't happen this year, obviously, but going into next year's, we're gonna have to consider as a possibility. I mean, it's,
good
yeah,
stuff.
yes,
Yeah, all positive.
So
so,
I'm fine with the $50. Everybody else okay with that?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sean to
I'll
charge
second.
the school $50 an hour for the rental of the rink. Second by Ron.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? None. Lacrosse, Sean?
Yeah, I just, you know, I guess I have a half mention of that, like you just said, we're getting some pressure to, look into lacrosse and add it to our youth program, because Clayton's commission.
What type of a program do they have in Clayton?
I'm not certain, but I know it's
Large.
large.
And there's a lot of Alexandria Bay people
A
that
lot
are
of,
going.
a lot of Bay kids, from my understanding. We actually, my wife and I coach soccer, indoor soccer, kindergarten through 2nd grade, and we lose half our group every Tuesday, because they're at lacrosse.
Lacrosse, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very popular sport.
It's starting to be very popular. I mean, that's kind of, you know, you see these trends in different sports, and lacrosse is on this.
So you'll leave the boards and the glass in and the nets and everything?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, everything looks good. I mean, we haven't had much discussion about this. Like I said, it's too late to make it happen this year,
Yeah.
I think, but we're gonna most
Go in that
likely
direction.
be going in that direction, I think.
The reason it's on the agenda is I've had a bunch of parents contact me about it. I talked to Sean about it a couple times, and we said we'd talk about it, and we'd look into, look into doing it. And we can't do it right now this season, but
Yep.
I don't know how long the program goes on in Clayton that they're doing right now, but
I'm not sure either.
probably not much more than through the summer.
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm gonna excuse myself, call me if you need me.
Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
Thanks, Rob.
See you.
Local law for virtual meetings and board meetings. So I've been reading this, I think you guys have been reading this. I don't feel, from what I'm reading here, that this is appropriate for what we were looking for. And what we were looking for is that we have members of the board that have other obligations, have other conflicts, or take a vacation, which everybody's entitled to. When we have meetings, while somebody is not here, those people usually do attend the meeting virtually, those board members, and I'll say more than usually, I believe they always attend the meeting virtually. And I think that some of us board members, or all of us board members, would like to see them be able to vote. And that was what the intention was of an agreement, because the state of New York supposedly has allowed for that to happen, but from what I'm reading here in this document, I don't see where that allows that. Does anybody else?
No.
So I think I go back to the drawing board with our attorney and see if there's something that we can do to allow our board members to vote when they're virtual attendance.
Yeah. If this doesn't really address that,
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, 'cause
like, at all.
Letter B is very specific.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about.
Disability, illness,
Under B is where
caregiving
the problem is.
responsibilities.
Yeah, you know, in the, yeah, I think that is where the biggest issue comes in.
So if everybody's okay, I'll go back to our attorney and tell him what we are looking for, and see if that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, we want the right to vote, right?
Right.
That's kind of what,
Yeah,
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
cause the interest,
you
The other
guys,
thing too, not that it's happened, but, I mean, we have a technology that we never had before, number
Right.
one, and we have, but the real potential is not having a quorum.
yeah,
This would allow that.
yeah,
yeah,
and you think about it, COVID has forced us to do some things that we never did before.
Yep.
And things didn't fall apart,
yeah,
so it's like, we've already had a dry run of what we're asking for,
yep.
so, yeah.
Okay, the next item I have is the resolution for northern borders. Anybody have that in front of them? It's about a half a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
You've got it?
Yep.
This is the grant that we're applying for, and we have to do a resolution, to satisfy some of the, requirements of the grant. Northern Border Regional Commission grant application, whereas the town of Alexandria is preparing to submit a 2022 Northern Border Regional Commission grant application, whereas the grant application will be the sum of $1 million to help fund Phase 1 of the Bonnie Castle Community Recreation Center. Whereas the town board by this resolution desires to authorize the town supervisor Brent Sweet to sign the 2022 Northern Border Regional Commission grant application and all other grant-related documents for this project. It is now therefore resolved by the town board of the town of Alexandria that Brent Sweet, in his capacity as town supervisor of the town of Alexandria, is hereby authorized to sign the 2022 Northern Border Regional Commission grant application for the project, and should the project be awarded grant funding, to execute a grant agreement and any other documents necessary to facilitate payment and delivery of the grant funds to the town of Alexandria for the project.
Only question I've got is, at some time, we need to stop saying Bonnie Castle Community Recreation Center and call it the Alexandria, either Town of Alexandria Community Recreation Center, or we need to drop the Bonnie Castle part. Nothing against Bonnie Castle, but we need to
Yep.
stop calling it that. I don't know if that's gonna cause a problem right now, or, cause we can just put a line through that.
Well, in one of our conversations with Bernie and Carr, didn't they suggest we pick a name?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And then start using that name and all the grants, I think they even said that.
well, we talked, it circulated in emails a few times.
Well, when we say Bonnie Castle Rec Center, everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we say Town Rec Center, are we talking about the rink by the school, or are we talking about up by 81?
Yeah.
But if we, Community Recreation Center, I mean, we don't call the rink Community Recreation Center.
No.
I've never, you know. I'm just thinking we ought to get rid of we gotta get rid of the Bonnie Castle name at some point. Why not start?
Is
Why
that
not,
something
sir?
that you wanna do as far as this document's concerned?
Yeah, just take a line item through it and put Town of Alexandria instead of Bonnie Castle.
So
Or
what's the new name?
Town of Alexandria Community Recreation Center project, or just plain Alexandria, whatever people want.
Town of Alexandria is fine.
First one's good for me.
Town of Alexandria.
Town of Alexandria, good by
Community
me.
Recreation Center?
Yep.
I've been thinking about that whole situation up there, and one of the things that we're all gearing up for up there is public assembly.
Yep.
Which, I guess Community Recreation Center can fit into public assembly.
Oh, yeah.
Is that,
Yep.
okay?
I would definitely think so.
Because, a huge part of what we wanna do up there, we were up there a week ago going through this, and we talked a lot about the roof structure and what we're doing there, and it's a lot of the things that we wanna do are for events.
Right.
So, I need a motion for the Town of Alexandria Community Recreation Center, grant application for the Northern Border Regional Commission. Motion by Ron, second by Gene, any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Okay. Highway Superintendent report.
Just a sidebar is when we went up there this last time with Bernie and Carr, they talked about the big grant that the girl from BCA put in for us. Did we
Yes.
hear anything on that? I thought she said we would hear.
We heard that they wanted us, I think I sent everybody an email, they wanted us to pick a grant administrator. And the grant administrator that they I don't wanna say preferred, but they suggested was Tug Hill Commission. And if we didn't wanna use the Tug Hill Commission, we had to go through a waiver process and apply for a waiver to have somebody else be the grant administrator. And if Rob was here, or no, I'm sorry, if Rick Tagg was here, we had that discussion with Rick Tagg, and Rick Tagg advised that we use the Tug Hill Commission.
Okay.
He also said the fact that we have gone to this step with them and that they've notified us is a very good point.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was a big one too.
Yeah.
What was that, 17?
No, this is a million.
No, I'm talking about the one I was.
17 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
I've got a highway superintendent report, which takes the items of, well, I'll read his report, but I've been putting pipes in, ditching on the Gore Road, getting the road ready for grinding. 3 trucks have been hauling crushed gravel from Box for Gore Road. The men are going to start putting pipes in Log Hill Road, which I know they were doing today, which is slated to be paved later this summer. We have the mower tractor out mowing. Nothing new to report on the Amos ditching. The county is aware of Olmsted's ditching, and the permits will be issued, and we will have it done by fall. The water in Mud Lake is still high. We discussed it last month about waiting for it to go down. This will allow us to stay out of a wet situation. The Butterfield Lake project will move forward when we find ample time, and the dredging cannot be done until after the spawning season. Do you know what they're planning on dredging down there, Jay?
Have they taken some of that out for a kayak launch right there, that waterfront the guy wanted? Or our sewer pot sits, aren't we putting a little kayak launch right there?
Okay. Yep. That is report dishes on the Olmsted properties, 18, report dishes on the Amish properties, 19. Creek Road beaver damage, we've given permission by the DEC to trap beaver over there, and beaver have been trapped. Mike talked to me the other day about getting, payment to the trapper who's doing that. We're paying per beaver. Mud Lake shoreline repair, he had in his letter, he told us what he's doing there. The pavilion, he had in his letter, he told us what he's doing there. So I'm gonna go back up to the old Ford tractor to the stables. Jamie met with Mike Tibbles today. The tractor is all ready, it's sitting at the highway barn, and you guys are gonna deliver the tractor to the stables. And we're gonna keep it at the stables, we're gonna store it there. It's a tractor with a side mower. And we're gonna be able to mow more up there. Right now, the guys are mowing with the 0 turns up there. And they're not mowing, they're just mowing
The parking lot.
small area alongside the road. If anybody has gone by up there, these guys have done a great job. They've weeded everything, they've weeded all the acres. It looks good. It looks a lot different than it's looked in a long time. And that's our plan on what we're trying to do, is we're just trying to keep the place mowed and looking nice for right now.
But when you say side mower, not a sickle bar.
No, it's a brush hog.
What do they call it, a bat wing?
Bat wing.
Okay, it's a flail mower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a flail, but it's a brush hog. It's got 2 blades on it.
Oh, okay, I'm just.
Yeah, brush hog.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna see how it's gonna work.
Because, I mean, you could easily drive that inside that pole barn.
That's where it's going.
Yep, easy.
That's where it's going, for storage. Which brings me to number 17, the excavator is scheduled to work. I talked with Mike Tibbles yesterday about that, and he gave me the okay that we can have the excavator on 5/31 for that week. I think Jamie, you talked to him too. We needed to schedule this because we're gonna have to order a dumpster, or a couple dumpsters, or a series of dumpsters, because that's what we plan on doing up there initially, is to just get everything together, get everything in a pile, and get it in the dumpsters and get it out of there. There's a couple piles in this back building that we're talking about. There's boats, there's stuff outside, there's things all over that.
How are we planning to get rid of those boats?
Are we planning on it?
How are we planning on it?
I think the discussion with Jay and Jamie are,
Stop them
we
right.
can crush those
You
up
can
and
crush
take
them?
them,
Okay.
take them to Jefferson County, but we have to pull the engines and we gotta pull the tanks. And with a thumb on the excavator, but won't be too hard, right?
And the motors can go right in the metal dumpster, right,
That was,
Jamie?
just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Just
So that's,
$5, whatever.
that's what our plan.
Better than nothing.
No, I agree.
Jamie, you've been up there quite a bit, do you see other things that we're gonna be doing up there that week? It's just, there's a lot of junk.
Yeah, just cleaning up so we can mow. I mean, there's a lot of them white posts around, you know, tire, I mean, there's just garbage everywhere. We just wanna get the outside cleaned up so we can mow. You know.
Yeah, those posts, you know, that's a leftover of the white fencing that, we should kind of put that off to the side in case we wanna use it
Yeah.
in the future, just don't trash it.
Yeah.
If you go around the track, Jamie, if you go around the track, somebody has taken all the slats
And all the posts are still.
out of the post, and they're all in excellent shape, and they're all laying right on the ground.
Yeah.
And we talked to Morocco, and he agreed, those are ours.
Yep,
So whoever put them there, they're not allowed to come back and get them.
right.
He agreed that everything that's up there right now is ours. So as Ronnie said, that stuff ours, it probably would be bad to collect it and put it,
Somewhere where it's gonna be out of the way but safe.
It almost, I mean, to put cameras or something up there.
Yep, trail cams with,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
that are hooked to a cell service.
well, we know there's power up there.
Yeah. Yeah,
We can put a camera up there.
Goes all
I mean,
the
a
way to the
regular
cell tower.
camera.
Does it really?
Goes to that
Yeah,
last
we
pole, you
should-
can see it goes down in a conduit, and then it's underground.
Ah, okay.
That's a long way
Yeah, it is.
underground. And that's, was there a transformer at the base of that pole? Because that's high voltage on top there.
Yeah, it goes over all the way to the cell tower.
That cell tower's a long way.
We have power up there, I'm sure they have cell service up there.
No, wait a minute.
Why don't, instead of just putting a game camera, why don't
We
we?
have power up there.
There's no power to that building.
Yeah, the town of Alexandria has no power up there.
Right.
Can we,
And Gene can probably help here. In order us to get power up there, things are a mess. So you've gotta go through an inspection. And that
It's not
could be
gonna
scary.
pass, it's not gonna pass from what I saw.
no,
I mean, we could probably get a temporary service mounted on a pole,
that's what I'm talking about.
right?
Just a meter on a pole with a weather tight outlet.
And then are you saying this for camera purposes?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, with.
So if we're gonna do it for camera
where
purposes,
you
then we
put the
gotta get
chip in.
internet.
Well, the camera will go off
The
Well, we
game
don't-
camera will. We don't need,
I think Mike's suggesting something other
we
than
don't
that.
need power then for the game cameras.
Right.
I got
Yeah,
game
but
cameras
the
that are
game
solar.
cameras, you gotta pull the freaking little things out.
No, you don't, no, you don't, get them to come right to your phone.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
can show them to you right now on my phone.
right. The game cameras would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get solar powered game cameras for $139 a piece, they're called Spy Point.
No, I got a few.
What's that?
I got a few.
Yeah, so do I.
That'd work.
Okay.
I agree,
Then
we
we-
need
then we
to have
should
something to look at.
Use some of our Bonnie Castle, our rec center money and buy a couple.
Rec center, okay. Community rec center?
Yeah, community rec center. Okay, I gotta catch myself.
Okay.
And
Okay, so,
on that matter, I think we should look at our budget, I think it says the word Bonnie.
yes,
So
it
just
does.
going forward.
It's right in
Okay.
there, yeah.
Have we talked about number 19?
Yes, that was in his letter.
Okay.
And we talked about 20, and we talked about 21, and now we're on 22. Have I missed anything about?
No, he talked about.
Yeah, it did already.
Okay, we did talk about
The
that.
highway
Yeah, I'm
department.
sorry, we're on 23.
Yeah.
Hiring of the town historian, we decided previously this is a retro to May 2nd. I have the right month, yeah, this is a retro to May 2nd for Tom Felino. I think there was something in the paper, wasn't there? Anybody see it? Picture of him in an article?
I don't know.
So I just need a resolution, or a motion to hire Tom.
Yeah.
Motion by Ron, second by, Gene. Any discussion?
No, he was in the other day, I talked to him, great guy.
He's holding regular hours, he's really into this,
Yep.
and he's doing a great job, and he's learning a lot, and he's communicating a lot with Greta Slate. She's actually coming in, tomorrow or the next day, gonna spend some time with him, and it's all good news. We took care of the pay situation, because he got back to us on that. I passed that around and we're all set, so no more discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. School rate, I believe we already did at $50. Plus this playground replacement, I have no news, I have nothing on that, so I'm gonna put a line through that, unless anybody has something else. Letter to prospective cemetery plot buyers, I've created that letter. I think I passed that letter on to everybody a month or so ago, and I've asked Jesse, I've got a list of 27 people that have reserved plots at Point Vivian Cemetery, and I have a list of 11 people that have reserved plots at Highland Park Cemetery. This letter will be going out, as soon as Jesse has time to finish the, finding the addresses, which I think we only got about 4 addresses we're still trying to find. We were going to the county tax rolls, but some of the people's properties is in business or LLCs, and it's not in their name, so it's causing a little bit of a...
It's kind of, I don't wanna say that gruesome's probably a bad word. I just ended, this a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, ended up buying a couple plots myself at St. Cyril's Cemetery. What do we provide people who buy a plot? What do they get?
They get a deed that was created by Bob Sly.
Okay.
That we approved.
Okay.
5 months ago.
Okay.
Or I don't know how many months.
Okay, I'm just saying, I just went through it, it's kind of...
They get 4 cornerstones, marks the grave, marks their plot.
Okay.
That's 44 inches by 10 feet, or roughly. They get the 4 cornerstones, they get the deed, and they get the acknowledgement of payment, which is on the deed.
And now this is the other thing too, we keep an accurate file, so, because it is not unusual for cemeteries to sell plots that had already previously been sold.
No.
That is not unusual.
Those 4 cornerstones, are those like, we put them in the ground to market, or do we hand somebody 4 cornerstones?
So part of what's in the letter that I sent, that we all looked at a few months ago, is that Rob Bustler has agreed to go up there and survey these plots.
Okay.
And put the small little flags on the 4 corners of these plots. At the same time that he does that, we will put the 4 cornerstones, or I will put the 4 cornerstones.
Where each one of those flags are?
Yes.
Okay.
And the one other thing that we've asked these people that have bought these to do is to view what we have marked out, and basically give us their approval that they're okay with it.
These cornerstones, do they stick up or are they flush with the ground?
They stick up a hair, I believe. I mean,
That's
the mower's not gonna go over them.
When I was going to college, I worked for the town of Messina's Highway Department for 2 summers. And one of the things that our summer employees did is you mow cemeteries. You could take a 1 acre blank piece of property and mow it in this much time. You mow a cemetery, it's this much time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I see modern cemeteries, all the headstones are level to the ground, so the more of that, the better.
Yeah, if those cornerstones could be level with the ground.
Flush with the ground.
Make life easier.
Oh, yeah.
What do we pay for the surveys on those compared to what we?
That's a good question.
Cause we're getting surveyed all at one time though, right?
Yes, we are. All at one time, all these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you charging per plot?
$750 per plot.
Oh, yeah, we
You've got it
do okay
covered.
then.
Yep.
Hopefully, right?
I think so.
It's a little cheaper than St. Cyril's.
No.
I was gonna say, he just asked a little
It's a
cheaper than
little
St. Cyril's.
cheaper
I
than
know,
St. Cyril's.
I know 3 or 4 cemeteries around, and they range between $400 and $600 or $650.
Well, they just went from 600 to 700.
Okay.
Okay, we're in the ballpark.
No, that's, okay, but I was just asking because I just went through it.
Well, we don't wanna be accused of undercutting the competition either.
Well, I know, but
Especially when they're church, right? Non-profits.
But it's just one of those things we're all gonna get there.
Yeah.
Yep.
27, profit and loss reports for Bolton Avenue Rec Center and transfer site. Everybody's got those in front of us. I was a little bit concern when I first looked at the transfer site, but I quickly went into Nicole and asked her some questions, because our objective at the transfer site has been to break even, I think is what we all talked about. We don't wanna make money off this thing, off our taxpayers. And that figure that you see of a $20,000 profit does not include any of the employer costs or benefits, which would be health insurance, retirement, uniforms, boots, so on and so forth. If you start adding those figures up, we're close to break even.
So in the future, I see we got PS, and I believe that's labor, right?
Yeah.
If we could have another column with what you just talked about.
Yeah, well, you guys have seen expense sheets that I've sent you all about what a cost of an employee is.
Right.
I got a lot of things on that sheet, and that needs to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Is
So
what
I'm just
saying.
saying, it could, to give a true
Yes,
picture, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes,
Some things are looking better.
I'm surprised that doesn't roll into the personnel services line.
Yeah.
For some reason, all that is like, it's by itself. I know at one point in time, all the health insurance for the whole town was in one line item.
Yeah.
So all these different departments was all one spot, which is wrong.
Wrong, yeah.
It needs to be broken out into each cost center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw when I created the sheet for the cost of an employee,
Yeah.
and that was on Excel spreadsheet, and I believe that had 8 or 10 different deals. I mean, I got their uniforms in there for $520, I got their boots in there for is it $300, Jamie, or whatever it is? I got, you know, their retirement in there at 9.8%, I got all those things separately, and that needs to be put on here. This is just something I asked Nicole to do, and not until I looked at this yesterday did I go in and I started asking for some numbers on those things, and like I said, the $20,000 profit item, our number surprised me, but then I quickly realized that everything wasn't there.
Right. It's going along with what Sean said, like when you look in our budget and we can find, arena PS.
Yes.
We should be able to find arena, those other costs.
Yeah.
And then Nicole, all that you have to do is, but hopefully they're not lumped.
See,
Are they?
well, what I'm gonna say here is that you know that we've tried to segregate or pull things out and keep things. In other words, when an arena employee needs to have that extra line item, it's gonna say his health insurance, it's gonna say the things so that we have true cost figures.
Yep.
And as we've tried to do that in the last few years, the bookkeeping and the accounting people, it's more work for them. They don't, they think we're getting too, you know, I just gonna say, I'm doing the micromanagement deal that I do so well.
Well,
you know?
it's just, you look at
That's what it should be though.
2020 and 2021, so it's 2020, is that a true number?
Right,
I think the numbers have the same thing in them.
right.
Which
More
don't
importantly, the
include
same
that.
thing's missing.
Right,
Right.
same thing's
It's a
missing.
weird way to, you know,
And-
you're evaluating performance essentially.
It is, and when I went and talked to her,
Which means those negative numbers are even bigger too.
You're right.
yeah, it does, and so when I went and talked to her about it, she said, I can put all that stuff in, I'll do that, and I said, and she's got a lot going on right now with this new software program and all that, and she's pressured about getting our financials to us and the whole deal. I said, no, we're fine, we'll figure this out, and we can have her do that for the next time.
Okay.
So,
It's better than it was, it's not where we wanna be yet.
yeah, I agree.
We're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that. Report from the Water Sewer Committee, Mike, that's you.
Okay, we've been getting together weekly, for last 2+ years. And we started on Monday mornings at 8, then we went to Wednesday mornings at 8, have been doing that for a while. And for the last 2 weeks, we're now getting together Wednesdays at 1:30 in the afternoon. And we've been working on, for the last month probably, is the, water ordinance. And, lumping, you know, we have 5 water districts, and each one of them have their own ordinances, and most of the information in them is the same, but each one has little extra stuff that applies, you know, to them. But, we're writing, you know, going through every one of those and putting together just one generic one, and then we're gonna have appendices they'll separate out individual water districts for the differences. And we're up to, I think, Article 15 or 16 out of 20 some now. But anyway, today, a water, customer from, Redwood came in, Tina Barra, she, remember last month, board meeting, she had some questions about, we invited her to come in and have further discussions with us, and so that's what we did today. And we talked to her for a couple hours, like that, and I think she understands better. I mean, she's not, and nobody is totally thrilled with having to pay more for anything, but unfortunately, reality is reality. Things increase over time, and what's really unfortunate in this situation anyways, water and sewer, for whatever reason, the town board has just, over quite a few years of didn't increase rates. We didn't get any additional customers, costs continued to go up, and the rates stayed the same, so the disparity between being in the black and being in the red is just greater and greater, so we're attempting to rectify that, and at some point in the future, hopefully we get there, but, that's kind of the explanation, I guess, to her as to what is happening. In her case in particular, in Redwood Water District, unlike the other water districts, everybody had an EDU of 1. So to make all the districts the same, we had to look at how the EDUs are laid out exactly the same. So that included them, and so that's, in most cases it didn't affect anything, but a few cases, like apartment owners, the Redwood Tavern, commercial establishments, they went from 1 to a different number. The other big thing that we included now in people's bills is an actual reserve, money that's goes directed to things somewhat similar to, we've just been having a long conversation on Redwood Sewer, buying these things as opposed to hoping we get a grant, that we actually have some money in the bank to come and take care of them. Unfortunately, in 3 out of the 5 water districts, I think it's 3, are in the red. So we gotta get them into the black, so that's including Redwood Water, and so we're kind of working towards that. So, and I was hopeful after 2 hours of talking to her that she understood. Obviously she's not here tonight, but she may show up at our next meeting or the next town board meeting. And anybody else that wants to, like I said, Wednesdays at 1:30.
Wednesdays at 1:30, great.
Been ongoing for 2 years.
At least 2. I can't even remember when we started.
Once a week.
Once a week. I can't even remember when we started. It's been that long.
And it's easily, I'm gonna say, 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, sometimes really long, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mike. 29th, 2021 Town Department Audit Report. So, as required by the New York State Comptroller's Office, we have had audited for 2021 Town of Alexandria Town Supervisor, Town Clerk, Town Tax Collector, Town Justice Courts. This was done by Mr. Dajnaw, who has the certification to do these audits. You all have a copy of this. Every one of the reports for every one of those positions is in front of you. There's no boxes that are checked no. There's one note that I talked to Jesse about on the tax collector, or is it the town clerk one? It's the general record keeping for the town clerk. And that is that she reconciles her bank accounts, and no one is reviewing her reconciliation at this time. Nicole balances the bank accounts, or reviews, I should say, the balance of the bank accounts. So after talking with Mr. Dajnaw, I went to Jesse and said, when you reconcile your monthly bank accounts, I need you to bring them to me, and I need to look at them and sign off on it. I think that's really the only thing that I see here. Everything else was definitely sufficient and done how we have to do it. This is all stuff that's required by the New York State Comptroller's Office. Anybody have any questions? Nope. So I'll take a motion to accept the Town of Alexandria audit reports from Mr. Dashnaw to satisfy the Interstate Comptroller's Office.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sean, second by Mike, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. April financials, she did not get to those, or she's right in the middle of them. So I don't have those to present to you. As soon as I do, I will, pass those on to you. Going to the, budget transfers. General A, judicial CE, debit $6,832.11. Judicial grant revenue, credit $6,832.11. To record revenue expenses from the judicial grant. A again, garage heating fuel, $5,000 debit. Garage CE, $5,000 debit. Celebration CE, $50 debit. Contingency CE, $10,050 to cover expenses due to increase in heating fuel and cost of installing generator at the town barn. So the generator that was out here that was in fine working order, that got replaced by Dank, who put a new generator out here, went to the town barn and has been installed and is hooked up, so now the town barn is totally under generator power if they need be. Recreation, still in General A, FTPS $25,000, Recreation PTPS $25,000, to move budget amount from one line item to another, same fund. Now we're going to DA, equipment, $118,210 debit, appropriated fund balance $118,210 credit to cover purchase of the new excavator. Anybody have any questions? I'll take a motion to accept these transfers and do them as they're labeled here.
You brought the excavator out of the highway fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Talking with Mike Lasan and he said that's definitely the best place to do it. That's the equipment line item. And that's the answer we got from him. Okay?
Yep.
I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sean to accept these transfers as they're here in front of us. A second?
Second.
Second by Ron. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? None. I need everybody to sign this. I'm gonna pass it around. Next item here, standardization resolution. Resolution for standardization. Okay, so this Zamboni purchase, I had been contacting this company for 2 months to try to get another price to try to meet our procurement costs, cover a couple companies. Well, finally after 2 months, we had the check written, we had the approval, the board did the approval, the whole deal. I was worried about staying within the guidelines of our procurement policy. So in my discussion with Tom Haynes from Dank, he says, you've got a Zamboni, you've had a Zamboni, you like Zambonis, you wanna stick with Zamboni. He said there's a thing called a standardization resolution. So, from their records, they got a copy of it and they created this resolution standardizing Zamboni ice resurfaces. That'll allow us to buy this Zamboni without pricing.
And we sell that's called a proprietary spec,
Yep.
where you only go with one.
Yep, yeah, very similar to what we did with the AstroTurf.
Yep.
Okay. At a regular meeting of the Town of Alexandria held on May 18th, the following resolution was adopted by the town board, whereas the Town of Alexandria has an existing Zamboni brand ice resurfaces, and whereas the town employees are experienced and trained in the operation, maintenance, and repairs with such ice resurfaces. Whereas the town maintains a spare parts inventory necessary to complete immediate repairs to the ice surfacer. We bought another Zamboni ice resurfacer, if everybody remembers, just because it was a same machine. And how many times have we been up there to rob parts? A few.
It's an Olympia.
Whereas to purchase a different brand of ice resurfacer would be inefficient and uneconomical for the town to operate. Now therefore be it resolved as follows: for reasons of efficiency, maintenance, and economy pursuant to the authority conferred by the General Municipal Law, Section 103, parentheses 5, it is determined by the town board that there is a need for standardization in the purchase of ice resurfacers, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to contract for the purchase of additional ice resurfacers pursuant to the procurement policy adopted by the town board. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Wherefore, the foregoing resolution was put to a vote, and the members of the town board of Alexandria by a motion from and seconded by on May 2022, the result of which the vote was as follows. And that next document is the one for me to certify the resolution was adopted on this date. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, no questions.
I'll take a motion
I'll make that motion.
by Mike Fayette. Take a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Gene.
I think you need to put, when it says May, I think you have to put today's date.
Yep, 18th,
Where are you?
all over.
So it says May,
Yep, yeah, I gotta do that, I have to do that in 2 places, yes.
okay.
4, I think.
Today's date,
Yeah.
that's the 18th.
You got 2 on each page, Brent.
That's at the top, and then on the last page where it has the
Do we have
top
to do-
on May 18th, correct?
You got 2 on each page.
Second one on this page?
Are you
Yeah, way up at the top.
Zamboni or
Okay.
Olympia?
Do we have to do a roll call vote on this or not?
2 here, 2.
Zamboni.
Yeah.
What's the one in the rink right now?
Olympia.
Jamie says the one in the rink now is in Olympia.
I thought it was a Zamboni.
No, it's Olympia.
Well, that's different.
That's what you kept saying Zamboni, and now it's in Olympia.
Zamboni refers to a brand
Right,
of
like
ice
Kleenex
resurfacer.
tissue,
Yep.
right. Chevy or a Ram or, yeah.
What? Cross out Zamboni and just leave ice
Yeah, but
resurfacer?
there's a problem.
It's not standardization.
We're buying a
Well,
Zamboni.
no, this allows us to do a proprietary, meaning one provider, so
But it's
it either
based
says
on already
Zamboni or
having something
Olympia.
we don't have.
Right.
Wow, okay, so.
I mean, is that,
Yeah,
is it that technical?
I think it is.
yeah.
According to
When the
this.
auditors come to audit, and they might
Branded?
slap your hand. Well, my first thoughts are, go to Olympia and get a price. And do the standardization, or
What,
get 3 prices, but I haven't been able to get 3 prices. I haven't been 2 months I've been chasing some of these people around.
well, we only have a.
Jamie, you sure?
We only have.
How easy does Olympia emblems come
Update, but American marker.
We only have a price quote from Zamboni, right? That's the only one we have.
Yeah.
Right.
But is that the only one we
Olympia?
looked for to
Yeah,
look into?
well, no, I've tried Olympia, and I've tried another really strange brand that really looks funny.
Okay.
Wow, that sounds good.
But some of this language, based on the fact that we don't have a Zamboni,
Oh, yeah, it
doesn't
won't
make
work.
any sense.
No, it won't work,
No.
when it talks to spare parts and all that.
No,
And.
What's the one at the dump, transfer site?
I believe that's an Olympia.
That's an Olympia, I saw that one.
that's why we can rob parts off it. I think we gotta forget about that. The thing is, you've been trying to get 3 different prices.
Yeah.
And the
That's-
situation we got is you can only get one.
So we submitted an
So-
effort
Why are we
Exactly.
bothering
on
with
the
this?
turf
Right, yes, we did.
to push it through.
Same idea.
There's another problem with it, okay, and this is what Tom Haynes and Ryan Heron from Dankin told me, is that, as Rob said earlier tonight, we can, in order to get the payment for the SAM grant, we have to spend the money first, and then we submit everything and we get the payment. It takes a long time for that to happen, because we've got certification and the guarantee that we have the money, okay? We don't have certification and the guarantee for the money on this Zamboni. Whereas,
But we need a Zamboni.
I was just gonna say, where
Yeah, the
everybody
choice,
who's got
right?
anything to do with the rink has been telling me how badly we need a Zamboni, and we need to get it ordered, and I talked to this company numerous times, they're 11 to 12 months out
Right.
Zambonis are built by hand.
in
Oh, yeah, I believe
in
that.
California.
Quite the machines.
So, we've gotta have a machine, and we were awarded the grant. We haven't technically been signed off, I guess. So
Yeah.
buying it prior to that, does that jeopardize
Well,
eventually?
that's what I was just gonna just bring up, is that I don't know the answer to that question, because that's a pretty important question. If we
It's a
buy
bigger-
it now, does that mean we get excluded from the $100,000?
Alright,
But the main question, or the statement to be made is, we need a Zamboni.
right.
And I could make another statement to accompany that, is that
Can we limp ours along for
we
another year?
have the money, not the grant money.
Yeah.
We got, well, that's.
I'd like to talk about fund balance.
And some of these, the same grant stuff, right, where you're waiting on that money, if you bond, do you still get the money?
Well, we've got that's a good thing, we've got the fund balance not to have to buy.
Yeah, you don't wanna.
Yeah, I know we
Yeah.
don't have to, I was just curious, cause you wait for the money for so long.
Right.
Let's say cash in, out.
I mean, we should.
Basically, we got a receivable with the
Look
state.
how long,
Yeah,
look
yeah.
how long we've been working on this paperwork, just to
Yeah.
get to where we are, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I worked on it for a couple years and gave up on it. And we gave it to Dank, and they've been working on it for a couple years,
So we
right?
go forward based on the assumption, because we have been told by our state legislators that it is coming, right?
Yeah.
And the paperwork, which we heard tonight, it's not unusual that it takes a long time, and we don't have an option of not getting one. We gotta get one way or the other. If they were to say, okay, rules have changed, you're not getting the grant, we're still getting it. We still gotta get it.
That, I guess, was my
Which is what
point,
you're- yeah,
it's just, we need one from.
based on that,
Now, do you get
But,
does it have to be brand new?
You can't find a used one.
Yeah, I
If you
believe
can, it's
that.
unbelievable.
I believe that.
Or back it up a little bit, you can, but they're ones, the people are,
Like the dump?
they're like ours.
Yeah.
That's what's available. I've looked into that too.
if we go and buy this Zamboni, and we've got plenty of money in the fund balance to buy the Zamboni in General A or B, General A, which is where this comes out of, okay? We still gotta follow our procurement policy. And the only way we can not follow our procurement policy is to do the standardization deal.
but how did we not do that when we were with the turf?
Obviously, we didn't.
Well, we did, I thought we had to.
We did it because we showed that we had asked for prices.
Right,
And that we didn't get those prices, and we documented it, and we have it on paper, and we have letters, we have the whole deal, which, what you're getting at is, can we do the same thing here?
well, what I just heard you say is you did do the same thing.
Well, what led me to the standardization deal was the other company did finally get back to me 2 months later. And wants to talk to me about what kind of Zamboni, what kind of
This is the funky company.
Olympia we want.
It's Olympia?
Yeah,
Oh, it's Olympia who got back to you?
yeah. I didn't even contact the goofy looking
Yeah,
ice
blame you.
resurfacer.
Right. But
I've never heard of
it's kinda like excavators, they're not all created equal. Apples and oranges, just 'cause they have the same title of ice resurfacer.
I think,
We gotta call Olympia.
I think we get a price from Olympia, we get a price from Zamboni, and we make the decision.
Okay.
And I show an email in the file that I've tried to contact the third company.
You want-
Or that
you wanna have a
it
special-
doesn't meet our,
You wanna have
Standards.
a special 10-minute meeting a week from now? Just to do that?
if I can get, I should be able to get a price from Olympia,
Or do we just wanna adjourn this meeting
Yeah,
till that
so,
date?
exactly.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
So that takes 32, go to 33. So everybody's seen the work being done around town, there's been a lot of sidewalks that have been done, there was discussion about the sidewalks that were done at Mill Point and by the pavilion, and there were some questions, but that's all been taken care of, and everybody's willing to accept that sidewalk that they put in. It has a curb built into it, if you've driven down through there and seen that. The curtains for the pavilion came in yesterday, you unloaded them, and they're up today. I was down there with the contractor for half an hour, and the stuff that fastens the bottom of the curtain to the concrete did not come in. So the curtains are up and they're not fastened on the bottom, and they've taken the straps that they use to fasten them and they've attached them to the railings, the bottom of the railings to hold them down. I'm worried about 30-mile-an-hour wind.
I was gonna say, it's windy up there.
I'm worried about a 30-mile-an-hour
You're not
wind
just
in
rolling
these
up.
brand new freaking curtains, so they took all the curtains back and they put them all not against the concrete poles, because I'd be worried
Scratching the shit out.
against that too. And they've got, Velcro came with these things, and they've got them tied so that they're folded, the accordion style. And that stuff, he contacted the manufacturer, and that stuff is supposed to be sent. These things they're a little flimsy. They're canvas with isinglass in the center of them. They'll do the purpose of keeping the weather and keeping the cold out.
We'll be replacing them
But
every
we
year.
gotta be pretty darn careful about how they're handled. And how, the whole.
So like one of the big points that was made in that email chain was durability on that.
Yeah, and one of the big points that Butch Regensteiner made in that email chain, and he had a very good point, is that how they get fastened and where they get fastened.
Yeah.
I was under the understanding that there was gonna be a bottom track.
Yeah.
There's no bottom track, there's straps on the bottom of them about every 4 feet. That they're
4
gonna-
feet?
Yeah, that they're gonna go to a device that's anchored to the floor. And the strap goes around and you pull the strap tight. Is what it is, we're gonna have to go down and look at it. I was hoping that the mayor was here. Have you seen them? Did you look at them?
I didn't see him yet.
Yeah.
I
They
heard
just,
about 'em.
they just got them up today, they were working on them.
But you've seen them.
Yeah, I saw them, I
Do
moved
they
them.
seem kind of flimsy? They're not, let me back you a little bit. Are they what you thought they were going to be?
No.
I'm gonna say the material is thinner, I guess.
That's not good.
They're not as heavy duty and as durable. I mean, put it this way, they're no different than a boat canvas. They're really identical to a boat canvas. You know?
They're not gonna last.
Find out.
That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, boy.
If you all get a chance, you ought to go down and take a
Yeah,
look.
really.
Yep.
That's disappointing.
I think to make them last, we've gotta come up with a better fastening system for them. And I also think to make them last, I don't think you want them sitting out there in the weather 12 months a year.
You're saying there's plastic, the
What?
see-through clear?
It's isinglass, it's the stuff they use on boats, it's what's it called? There's a couple different
It's
names.
like a
for it.
plexi, isn't it?
Yes.
Like a very thin plexi?
Yes.
That sun and rain and stuff makes crack.
But they're supposed to be stored
Yeah.
95% of the time, they
Yeah.
should be stored out of the weather.
And maybe
How easy could you see, you saw them hanging, how easy,
to unhook?
no one
just a couple guys could do it? Cause Jarvis has already said, they're not interested in taking them down and putting them in the town barn, or village barn.
When the original design, there was one track that went up each side,
And they're gonna,
and when they weren't being used, they went all the way to the back against the wall.
and like in some kind of enclosure that they
Just
can
like
throw in.
you see like in a convention center or a hotel, they've got those, like the gym.
Like accordion.
Just like the accordion, the
Yeah.
gym wall for years.
Yeah.
The accordion goes back against the wall, it's
Yeah.
out of the way. Now, these things are buttoned up against these pillars, right?
Pillars.
It's bad.
That's very unfortunate. That's what I
Yeah,
would say.
cause it's an eyesore now too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 95% of the time you don't need them, and you're
Yeah,
looking at
and I was
100% of
thinking
the
when
time.
you do the accordion up and put them against that pillar, one thing, which would be a lot of work and another expense, is do what they do with some boat canvases that are up. You accordion them up, and you got a bag that goes around them with a zipper,
Yeah,
and that really protects
Yeah.
yep. And that's probably what should happen,
and
because
that's
they're gonna spend most of their life in that bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
All winter
So-
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'll talk to Steve tomorrow and get some village and town people to go up there and talk about this thing. I don't know the answer. So, as far as, you know, they're creating a, what's it called, that they built at Holland Street Boat Ramp? In other words, they put a dam up with, of sandbags, and they're gonna pump all the water out, so they're getting ready to redo that ramp.
Mm-hmm.
They tore the dock out.
Cofferdam in?
Cofferdam.
No kidding?
Oh, yeah, you ought to see it.
A sheet pile?
No, out of big sandbags.
Earth-filled bags, they're sandbags, it's like a canvas straps, and they can put them in place, and they get all nice and tight.
Wow.
Exact same way they did the Key Wade and State Park boat ramp 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was there all the time and saw. That's how the state did the Key Wade and State Park boat ramp replacement project. And they had a really big problem with keeping the water out of the cofferdam.
I'll bet they did.
Well, you gotta have a pump going almost all the time.
They had 3 pumps. They ended up bringing 3 pumps.
Yeah, no, I know.
And the pump that they have down there right now stands 7 feet tall on big wheels. That's
Well,
a
if you ever
big
see,
pump.
you ever watch a DOT replace culverts, we're not talking about a pipe, that's exactly how we do it, the same way.
Oh.
So, that's just, I haven't been, anybody been by the playground, the Thompson Park playground?
No.
I haven't been there.
I went there with Jarvis about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've only been there 2 weeks
Well,
ago. There was major stuff.
It was
going on.
all the fencing's down,
Yeah.
they got sidewalk in.
Do they? Good.
No, they did the sidewalk wicked fast, that was really great, cause
They had a,
people had
they
an
had
opportunity to do
what's
stuff.
it called, a slip form company come and do those.
They did a great job as far as timing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, we're gonna go look at the enclosure and see what we can come up with. That's the streetscape attorney reply, I have no reply from him yet on these Amish horses, and that's, I think, Gene, you probably heard from, who's heard from, Wayne's side?
I have.
No, you heard from Wayne's side. He's one of the leaders here to see what we can do, okay? The Historical Society has gotta do some repairs to the foundation on their building around there. They wondered if the town could help them out, money-wise. We give them, I believe, $3,500 a year anyways. I told them that I would ask, and they were supposed to get some estimates and get some things back. I don't mean to say they were supposed to, I asked them to, and, I haven't got those yet. So I don't have anything to report on that. And the last item is the hiring of the youth coordinator, and due to the fact that that's personnel and discussion, that we need to go into executive session. Everybody in agreement on that?
Yeah.
And so we'll take a motion to go into executive
Make a motion
session.
to go into executive session to
And
discuss
after that, we're gonna come
Thanks,
out, and
Jamie.
we're gonna adjourn, the meeting to the date. We gotta pick a date.
Right.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yep,
Have a good night.
I'll go down and look at
Yep.
those things now.
So, Ronnie made a motion, did I get a second? From Gene?
Wait, the date is gonna be
Okay,
25th, a week from tonight, or,
when's that again?
I don't know. I'm just saying,
This is for me, this delay is for me to get a price from Olympia.
right,
Is that right?
Right. So you're gonna get one by,
25th?
Yeah, yep,
So,
okay,
what date?
Same time, same place?
Did you say the 25th?
we have been doing them a little bit earlier in the afternoon, but it's up to you guys, I don't know.
do a 4
It's
o'clock?
gonna be 10, it's
I'm
only
here.
gonna be 10 minutes long.
I'm home here most of the day.
We've never done anything in
Well,
10
what,
minutes.
I mean, what works so that it doesn't interfere with somebody's day?
4 o'clock work? We usually do those on the,
It should work for me, no problem. My only issue is if they strand me on Grindstone Island and take a boat, I have a way off of it, but don't laugh, it's happened.
Can you call us an hour in advance and we'll
We'll send a speakerphone.
I can try.
we'll send a drone up there to pick you up?
Yeah, send a drone up to pick me up.
So we're saying
4 o'clock?
next Wednesday at 4.
Yeah.
yep.
So, but we're not gonna adjourn to next Wednesday at 4 right now, because we're gonna come out of executive
Right.
session and do
Right,
something.
then we'll
So
adjourn.
we're just setting the
Yeah.
date and the time right
Yeah.
now.
Well, that way.
For the public to know,
Yeah.
public to know, okay. And we're gonna go, we had a motion and a second to go into executive session, did I do a final deal, is there?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, none.
Okay, I'll go turn the microphone off.
Sean, what time did you say they served those on there?
9, I'll hurry up. My God.